king of sports books comes the king of sports podcasts. Unleashed. Presented by BetMGM. Here's your hosts, Jerry Ferrara and Olivia Harlan Dekker.
Just when we thought we've seen it all, oh my gosh, was week 3 crazy. This whole season has started so crazy. Jerry Ferrara, my friend, can you please do something for me? Can you say butt punt 10 times fast?
You know, I'm usually good at this, so I'll take a stroll at it, but I feel like I'm going to, all right, here we go. Butt punt, 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 butt punt. Yeah, I got to like 6. Was that 6?
God, that should be our social media clip for the whole show. I think butt punt is even more fun than butt fumble. So Mark Sanchez is off the hook for this one.
I don't know. That butt fumble will still be the funniest thing I've ever seen in NFL history. More so, but he's off the hook for 1 week at least.
For 1 week. Yeah, and Dan Orlovsky with Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, we got a lot of like flashbacks of history this past weekend.
It was a weird week, right? Didn't it feel weird? Like, yes. I feel like we also now have to start factoring in humidity. Like normally as bettors, we factor in like snow. Now you look at that Bills-Dolphins game, it's like, oh, we got to start factoring in humidity. Stephon Diggs was cramping up. Like I've never seen anyone cramp that much in a game.
A couple guys were. I mean, they said the field temperature was almost 100. It looked miserable. I've worked a lot of early college football games down in the South, down on the SEC. And that would be like a major thing, guys, chugging pickle juice on the sideline. Have you heard that one for cramping?
I've never heard that one, but like, yeah I guess
that's an old SEC trick.
I'm trained to only look at bad weather. Do we have to start looking in those early September games and early, maybe even October games of like in the South, start factoring in humidity and into your bets? I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. Weird week, but lovely week.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So much to get to, really. I mean, every weekend I always have like pictures that stick with me. So I'll remember, week 3 was, and one of them for this week was Bill's offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey, having a meltdown in the coach's box. I feel like that one's going to stick with me.
Legendary. I'm so glad that they cut to that. I'm so glad as fans we got to see that. Gosh, we all have to be able to relate. If you haven't had a meltdown like that in your life, you ain't living. I'm sorry. That's like the highest level of frustration. I'm glad he got it out. I'm glad. And he should get like a marketing deal with like Microsoft Surface Book Pro or something, right? Because that's a commercial. Oh,
it was fantastic. Anyone who says that it was wrong of the CBS broadcast to show that, I think is crazy because they'd been showing him all game. And those coaches, they know they're on camera. And it was fantastic. I think football fans loved it because that's what we do at home. If especially if you had money on the game. Speaking of which, you had another busted parlay, right?
Another busted parlay by your Kansas City Chiefs. Nice money line parlay, 5 teams. The only part of it that didn't hit. And to Ken Dorsey's point, I have like a very safe room in the kitchen that I put plastic stuff in that I call it wrecking the locker room. You get a bad beat, you go in the locker room and wreck the locker room and you're not damaging anything. So why have those cameras in the booth if you're not going to show that? So yes, a bad beat by your Kansas City Chiefs for me. Thank you very much, Andy Reid.
So if I'm doing my math correctly, you're down on the season, aren't you?
No, because I keep hitting teasers. I'm also a sneaky teaser guy. I think that there's always room for teasers in the first 4 or 5 weeks. I had a 3-team 10-point teaser, Lions like plus 12.5, Panther. Yeah, I had the Panthers in there. I had the Ravens in there. So I'm up, but I'd love to hit one of these parlays.
I know. Keep doing it. Keep being ballsy. You got screwed with the Chiefs. No one saw that one coming. Speaking of which, I looked at updated MVP odds because I was curious how Josh Allen's was affected. He's still the favorite. He opened at 9-1 and he's now plus 275. He's also the highest ticket percentage at BetMGM. I love that. I was thinking with Patrick Mahomes, his odds have shortened. He opened at 7-1. Now he's 5-1. And speaking of pictures, I'm going to remember from week 3, how about him going into the locker room at halftime in Indy, arguing with Eric Bieniemy?
Yeah, you don't really see that often. Eric Bieniemy, obviously, is amazing offensive coordinator. I don't know. Did you read that as like full argument? Like it didn't look contentious in a way that it
No.
was unhealthy. They looked very healthy. But yeah, I mean, you have to kind of say that Mahomes was probably correct. And as we saw with some of the later calls, like the fake field goal and then, just
Yeah.
not being aggressive enough certainly looked like it factored into that game.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it at the time at halftime when I was watching, but I really thought it after the game. They ended up losing by 3. I think they should have listened to Patrick, be more aggressive going into half, try to get into field goal range. But yeah, I love Andy Reid coming up like, come on, let's just get in the locker room. Come on. It's like a parent breaking up a fight with siblings or something.
You mentioned MVP odds, quarterback MVP odds, and the jumps. I mean, who right now is your MVP through 3 weeks, which is an awful question, but one that we all want to know, like, because it affects the odds. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
to me, there's like a clear person.
So you're saying if the sample size was just 3 weeks, if the season was over now,
Right.
I mean,
because we're talking about the odds, right? The odds have
Right.
shifted so much from pre-week 1 till now. So that means who's kind of won the first 3-game MVP award that doesn't exist.
I mean, it's hard to go against Lamar Jackson and what he's been doing. He is so fantastic. You can tell every game he's fighting for his new contract. But Josh Allen, despite a loss, he had, franchise record pass attempts. He had 400 passing yards. They doubled time of possession. I mean, their offense, everything he was doing for them was fantastic. Their defense was missing 5 starters, obviously. So I guess I'm leaning towards Josh Allen still. And I know that's chalky, but what do you think? Who's your go-to?
Well, I look at it like if you can go back to pre-game 1, whose odds would you love to lock in if you hadn't locked it in? And to me, I think if you could lock in Jalen Hurts at what was that, plus 4,000 at one point to now plus 700, I think Jalen Hurts is going to make a real run at this thing. I don't think he'll quite get there, but also he might very well be on the team with the best record. They look completely dominant, and this is a big overreaction, but I didn't buy it after week 1 because the Lions played him so tough. But yeah, I'm buying the Eagles. That team is legit.
They really are. He's got weapons. I mean, they're exciting. I like Nick Sirianni, year 2, getting things going. There's a lot to like about the Eagles. So you're right. I can get behind that. Yeah, Jalen Hurts now plus 700. Lamar Jackson, by the way, opened at plus 2,200. Now he's plus 550. So 3 weeks in, we are seeing a lot of movement, folks. I like it. Okay, and Jerry, the craziest thing just 3 weeks in is there's so much parity. We're seeing teams on the radar that we didn't expect. And, 30 teams have at least one win. And the last time that happened was a decade ago. I didn't realize that. And the last time before that was 2 decades ago. So I don't know, every 10 years this happens, but we are seeing a more cloudy picture, if you will. And in games that we were excited about seeing, like Rodgers versus Brady, just did not live up to the billing. Some teams have been disappointing. I feel like we're not getting what we thought we'd get, especially that game in particular with 2-star Hall of Fame quarterbacks, maybe their last meeting ever, and they have no one to throw to. They have no weapons. But as a Packer fan, I'm just glad we got out of there with a win. And the only reason that game will really matter is getting the tie break as we look at seeding at the playoff picture. But that's a whole nother tangent.
I had this thought when I was watching football, and you popped into my mind because you made a whole great take of why maybe the Raiders still have life in that AFC West. I don't even know if the AFC West is as vaunted as we thought.
Wasn't a great take.
A lot of people's favorites to win the AFC West with the Las Vegas Raiders, who are now 0-3. Maybe Devonte Adams is regretting leaving your boy Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. I mean, sitting at 0-3, Packers sitting at 2-1. But here's what I thought about. Who's the worst team in the NFL? And are there really awful teams? Usually in years past, and betting wise, I would always try to find the Jags, the Browns, the Jets, even my job. Like, you had teams to fade from the very beginning. Who are the worst 3 teams in the NFL right now? I mean, record-wise, like the Raiders, you have to lump them in there. Are the Raiders one of the worst 3 teams in the NFL? There's no way. There's way too much talent. Are the Texans? The Texans should be 2-1 right now.
Texans should be 2-1. Yeah, I don't know.
The Bears are 2-1.
Yeah. I guess you'd have to say Texans, Raiders, and Bears are the 3 worst teams, but you're so right. On any different day, different circumstances, I think you could make a case the Texans and Raiders aren't in that bottom 3. Who else would you think is bottom 3?
Well, you would say, you would put the Giants and the Jets in there. And I do think the Jets are in there. It's hard to put the Giants in there just yet because they're 2-1.
Yeah.
But think of it. Okay, how's this to blow your mind? Either the Giants or the Bears are going to be 3-1. They play each other coming up. They're good. One of those teams is going to be 3-1. That's just, no one had that coming into the year. And I do think the Raiders are still bounce back. I just think they're too far behind. And do you think Devonte Adams is regretting leaving the Packers? And not even that he left, maybe the Packers really weren't going to give him the money he wanted, but just as where that franchise is versus where he is now. Do you think, is there a regret? Is it possible?
Well, let's be clear why he left. And this has been well documented. And we've talked about it on this show. And I've even had people tweet at me like, you're crazy. It wasn't about Aaron Rodgers. And I get it. Devonte Adams went to Vegas to be closer to family, to have family who had never seen him play in the NFL before, go to games. Like there's a lot there, right? But just on the field, I went back and I looked at his first 3 games last season compared to the first 3 games this season with Derek Carr. So get this, it's pretty crazy. He's had the exact same amount of targets, 34 targets, but he's had almost 10 more catches with Aaron and 120 more receiving yards. That's the 3 games. So if this trend continues, that's the difference of almost 700 yards this season. So major difference, way more production with Aaron Rodgers. Now you could also look at situational, where was he targeted? What kind of blocking did he have? You could really break it down, but I think those numbers say a lot.
Yeah, I really have a hard time putting the Raiders as one of the worst teams in the league. They're not. And we still have a lot of games left to play to figure this out. But I really, when I'm looking at the board to do my fun little teasers and my fun little parlays, it's really hard to find that dog crap team that you could just fade. It's not like it was in years past. I have a noticeable difference through 3 weeks. There used to be 3 or 4 of those teams you could always count on. I struggle to find like 1 or 2. Olivia, we've also seen low scoring this year. And look, I get that it's probably maybe the smarter pick with all these unders hitting at a historic rate so far this season. I mean, we had a 14-12. We had an 11-10. It's hard for me. I don't love going for the under. Who wants to root for no points in the NFL? But what is going on with some of these games? Like it's going under by like a no doubter.
Yeah, no, it's so bizarre. And it does make you think about the way you want to bet and looking at unders, especially for this weekend. Because I was thinking ahead to the London games, and a lot of people think, with the time change and weird venue and kind of out of your element, that maybe you look at some unders there. I don't know, but I would love to pick the brain of someone who has been on the field before. You and we are pro NFL watchers. We are not players. And our guest this week is going to be the perfect person to ask. It's Will Blackmon. And why I love Will Blackmon, he's a 12-year NFL vet, Super Bowl champ. I love him because he played for both of our teams, Jerry, Packers and the Giants. And he's really my kind of guy because he's actually a certified sommelier. He's a wine guy. So I don't know. Can we open a bottle of wine, all of us individually?
I think that's totally fair. I think I kind of need that today. So
yeah, you're having a day.
Yeah, we don't have to tell anyone what time it is right now. Like it's wine 30. We'll just say that. Okay,
it is wine 30.
We're gonna do. I wonder too, as Will played a London game.
Oh, that's good.
Ask
yeah,
him.
we'll ask.
Let's see if it's really anything for us to think about these guys traveling to London. I mean, you just did it, and it has not affected your performance whatsoever.
Not at all. And hey, to be fair, it is wine 30 my time. I have the benefit of the time zone here. It's 6:30 my time, so I'm in the clear. I usually wait till after we record to get my glass of wine. Sometimes you guys have even caught me as we have to jump back on to fix something, and I already have something poured, but no, I'm excited to talk with Will. Again, we can get a little insight on both of our teams. So do you have some Giants questions ready?
I do, and I just hope he wears the Super Bowl ring because he got a Super Bowl with my team. I don't think he got one with yours.
He left, I think, just in time. I think it was that 2010-2011 season that he went to the Giants, right? So, I mean, he ultimately got his ring. But yeah, he just missed the Packers. Okay, so then after we talk with Will, which is going to be so much fun, we have our weekly Entourage update. And Jerry, I am on season 3 and I have so much to ask you. So I'm really looking forward to getting that segment in later. And then, of course, we finish off with our week 4 picks with BetMGM's betting expert, Peter Andreu. We love when our friend Pete comes on. We got to see what his season total is at in his $100 challenge. Okay, he's a Super Bowl champion who not only played with Eli Manning, but also intercepted him. He knows his X's and O's just as well as he knows his Pinots and Merlots. One of our favorite Twitter follows as well. Will Blackmon is here. Welcome on, Will.
I'm going to steal that one. That was legit.
You like
Very
it?
good.
Oh,
Yeah,
Dr.
I'm
Seuss.
excited. Quick story, though, before you guys are going. I'm going to tell you guys how Entourage saved my career. Can I do that really quick? Is that cool?
Yeah.
Wow, way to tease it. We don't even have a break to say, like, after the break, Will's going to tell us how Entourage
I got to get right
saved his
into it.
career.
Okay, so 2010, right? I get cut from the Packers when the year they won the Super Bowl. And then I remember I got signed by the Giants that year and then ended up not finishing the season. Then my knee got worse. And so in the following offseason, I got another surgery. And then I could not get on a team. So I missed training camp, I missed OTs, I missed everything. And this was like probably late October, maybe around this time, I got insanely sick, right? I got strep throat, I got all these things, and I'm just like ruined. And so I'm just in bed. My wife left the house with the kids because I was that sick. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't seen Entourage yet. I'm going to binge watch Entourage. So I binge watched from start to finish the whole thing. And then when I finished the last season, I believe that, like, I remember just finally just feeling so relaxed because Entourage took my mind off of like not getting signed from a team. The next day, I feel like it was next week, I got a call from the Giants saying, hey, we're going to bring you back this year. And that's the year the Giants end up winning the Super Bowl. So winning the Super Bowl with the Giants, that elevated me to play another 8 years. So Entourage was like my mental health. Like, it helped me out. So
That's,
What?
I can't even tell you.
hey,
how,
Jerry, I appreciate it. Can I call you Turtle right now real quick?
You absolutely could right now.
Turtle, I
After that
appreciate it,
story,
bro.
you have, yes, you are 100% just to call me whatever you want. Wow,
That's
an
awesome.
incredible story. I've never actually had anyone kind of put it that way. Like, but then and think about the connection. Turtle was the biggest Giants fan. I actually just found that Giants jersey that I think my character wore in like season 2 that says Turtle on the back. Like, I got to actually hang that up in the office. So, wow. Well, look, I'm glad we could help get you a ring, my man. That's incredible.
bro.
Jerry, you know what I mean?
Years in the
Because-
NFL.
You get a
I was
percentage,
stressed.
right, Jerry?
Of what?
I'll just
Of
let
any
me just
earnings
take a
after
picture
you
with the
binge
ring.
watch.
I'll be happy.
I'll take a ruby out the rings.
No,
Yeah,
Will,
so that's what it
awesome.
was. It put me at peace, man, and I finally let it go. And then, boom, Jerry Reese called and was like, let's do it. So, appreciate it. Anyhow, hi, guys.
Okay, that's an amazing story. What a way to kick things off. And even more appropriate now, because I told everyone to pour themselves a glass of wine, because you are the wine guy. And now we can cheers to that amazing story. And what's everyone got? I want to hear what everyone's drinking.
Ladies first. Cheers.
Okay, well, because you really know your stuff, Will. You're a sommelier yourself. We'll get into all that. But I went down to
Yes,
this
you have
little wine
Chardonnay in your
shop.
glass.
No, I'm telling you, it's not. God, you're the second person to say that. No, this is a skin contact Riesling from Slovenia. I love skin contact wine. I like funky wine. I like cloudy, mineral, really
That was my
good.
second guess.
I usually shy away from Riesling because it's so sweet, but this is exceptionally dry and it's really good.
Yes.
Is it my
Dry
turn?
Riesling is preferred for me. So a quick way to do that too, without having to read the label, is honestly just look at the back and you can see the alcohol percentage. Anything above 11% is going to be a dry wine.
12 and a half.
Okay, can you please just tell me real quick before we move on, what does a skin contact wine mean?
Meaning,
What does that mean?
so when they make white wine, they press the juice straight through and then they ferment the white wine. So in this case, they press the juice and they leave it in contact with the skins, literally, to get some of the structure on that wine. So as you see, it's a little bit of color on there. So either it could be aged to look like that or skin contact make it look like that. That's also how they make orange wine.
I love orange wine.
They make orange
I just
wine.
had that for the first time. I didn't even know. I thought that was like a prank. I just had that for the first, and it was delicious, by the way. I enjoyed it.
It is pretty delicious. All right, your turn.
I mean, look, I following what Olivia just did and said is not going to be nearly exciting. I have a 2019.
She got super fancy.
I have a 2019 Camus Cabernet.
Well, shit.
Nothing wrong with that.
You know,
And isn't
it was a gift.
2015 like the best year? Wasn't that a really hot year in LA, in California?
Hot right now.
I thought 2015 for like Camus, Opus One specifically were supposed to be very good years.
I think 60
well.
Napa.
So how did I do?
Right.
Is that how?
Nah, you're
choice.
legit. Nah, you're cool. So I have a Barbaresco. We're in Italy right now. Got some Nebbiolo, which is what I just poured using my Corvin. And the cool thing about this, if you like high acidity and high tannins, this is the way to go. Nebbiolo.
Okay. Well, let's backtrack. We've gotten ahead of ourselves a little bit. How did you make the transition?
You asked.
I know. I got too excited. How did we end up here? How did you become SOM certified? And how long after you stopped playing did you really get into this passion?
Yeah, I mean, I started like getting into wine probably my rookie year. Actually, my senior year in college, I enjoyed wine. I think I was typical, like most people, where I like sweet wines. Like that was my start. I wanted something that I can drink and enjoy right now. And then it wasn't until my rookie year. I remember, I'm in Wisconsin. I'm a Packer, and it's like it's beer country, right? So I'm like, I'm not drinking wine around these dudes, man. Like, there's no way. So, but come to find out, Charles Woodson, who we signed that same year I was drafted, was a big wino. And that actually made me excited and made me more comfortable because I'm like, look, no one's gonna say anything to Charles if he's drinking wine, right? That's our best player on the damn team. And he was cool because he didn't haze us, the rookies. He didn't do anything crazy or make us like run up a tab on us. He actually took us out to dinner. He wine and dined us every road trip, which was super cool. And he would always order these really cool and expensive wines. I had no idea what they were at the time, but I just thought it was cool. Not only it was cool that he enjoyed wine, but then to come to find out that he actually had his own wine. And because I thought, when you look at wine, you're like, how the hell you get into this business? It seems so like not feasible. Do you have to come from a wine family? Do you have to have a ton of money to even get started? Second part, yes, you do. Usually, if you're trying to buy a vineyard. But the fact that he had his own wine, he was African-American, he was an athlete, he was a Pro Bowler, All-Pro, and he was in the business. I thought that was super fascinating. So that's kind of how I got started. And then, I think being the youngest of three, I'm such a curious George. Like, I'm always trying to figure out, like, what's going on, super observant. And I wanted to know more about this stuff. I kept getting invited to, events in Milwaukee, and people were taking wine glasses and swerving it in my face and talking about the pretty legs, which I found out don't mean a damn thing. So if someone's like, nice legs, you're like, oh yeah, syrup has legs too, You could tell them that. That's and good. So I wanted to learn more. Like, what got me into football is I was a big football historian. So I collect cards, I collect posters, I watched everything NFL films, like John Facenda, he was the guy's voice. Sam Spence was the composer. Like, who knows that shit? I do. Can I swear? My bad.
You can.
Okay. Like, I know that stuff. And it sounds crazy, but I really got into studying and trying to learn about wine. I bought all these magazines and books, what have you. And then I saw that documentary Somm about the guys blind tasting and becoming master somms. And I was like, yo, where the hell is that at? And one of the master somms on the movie, his name is Peter Neptune, and he has a school right by where we live in California. So I remember one off season, I was like, I'm gonna find this and go take this class instantly. So once we were finished, this is when I was in Washington. I came home, it was like an 8-week course through the WSET, which is Wine and Spirits Education Trust. I learned, do not call it WSET because I did a commercial in London. It's a British institution. And when I said WSET, they cut the cameras off. They said, you need to say the whole thing. Ooh, so awkward. If you hear someone say it's WSET.
Okay.
So yeah, I took that and that just totally changed my entire world. Like wine became so non-subjective for me. Like it wasn't really, do I like the wine or not? It was more so like I understand it, whether I like it or not.
Is it hard to get SOM certified? Because I've looked into it for the WSET because you can do online courses. I've looked into it. I really want to do it. And is it really hard?
It's harder the higher you go level.
Sure.
Like level 1, you could probably have an idea. Boom. Second, level 2, step it up a little bit. Level 3 is absolutely, it literally is like going from pop water to the NFL. Absolutely crazy. It's seriously. And so, yeah, once I took that, I became so non-subjective and it just really opened my eyes. And what people don't know is after I took that class, I found out that there's a wine region in Virginia. And then I ended up, when I came back for OTAs in Washington, I actually, after practice, I would go work on vineyards in Virginia.
Wow.
Like I would put on boots, ruin my car by driving in the dirt roads. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of, I just fell down the rabbit hole of wine and that was it.
I love that.
So a good buddy of mine, Ben Lyons, we have this bet every time we play golf together. We don't bet money. The bet is you got to buy the winner a bottle of wine that you would take to a dinner party at Carmelo Anthony's house. He owes me 2. He owes me 2 bottles. He has not paid yet. What kind of bottle should I be expecting? Because I don't want him to kind of, short me here.
You.
Remember, dinner party, Carmelo Anthony's house. What wine is he sending me?
I mean, that's tough because Carmelo, he's into the French wines and stuff that LeBron and Chris Paul and D Wade are drinking. It's stuff that no one else would ever buy because it's absolutely insane, ridiculous. Good. So hopefully something north of 900 you should get. So maybe a first growth Bordeaux wine or maybe a Grand Cru Burgundy, something like that. So
I'm glad I didn't know all this before the bet because I played relaxed and I smoked them. So I think if I knew that, I might have felt a little pressure and maybe wouldn't have played so loose.
Yeah.
All right.
And then, you get it and let me know. I'd be like, nah, he lowballed you, bro.
What's he going to do when I have Will Blackmon go and tell him on Twitter that he lowballed me? That's going to be the great. Oh, this is so good. This is so good.
Seriously, Will, though, when we talk about NBA players, there have been now articles written and people are really into the fact that NBA players on road trips get together and drink these really expensive bottles of wine. And now that's such a culture. Like, it's really cool to be into wine if you're a rookie NBA player where, like you talked about, you were kind of out of your element. You were kind of one of one until Charles came around. But why do you think the NBA is a little bit ahead of the NFL in that?
Well, you can go to dinner with 12 guys on it. You can't go to dinner with 53 guys. And they're always on the road and they don't practice every day. They have shoot around. So I think they have more time to have their leisure, to enjoy that stuff. And then too, when the top players are setting that trend, it's a little different. I'm sure if like Brady, Aaron Rodgers and, whoever, Mahomes were, and Josh Allen, instead of playing golf, they were going around to these like wine places and really setting the trend there. Like, I think if that was the case, sure. Now, come to find out, there's a lot of players into wine, especially the more I got into this business. I found out so many people came out of the woodworks like, hey, I enjoy this too. But it's just because the main players are into it. Now if the LeBron and them were into, seltzers, I'm sure seltzers would.
Can you imagine?
Would
be
White
the wave
Claws.
too. High noons. Do I crush high noons this weekend? Oh my gosh. I had about 8 of them too. I did.
Who's a player we might be surprised or I guess not a player, who's someone who's like famous, let's say, who's come out of the woodwork, who's like really into their wine?
I just found out like Andrew Whitworth is really into wine.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, he is. Justin Tuck is a big wine guy, like huge. I actually curated his cellar a couple of times. Matt Ryan is massive. He has like a 800 bottle cellar.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I did Matt Ryan's cellar, Justin Tuck. I did Reggie Bush's cellar. Reggie's like he's like interested in wine. So because he was kind of like, here's what I want to spend and kind of, I like to try whatever. So there's a lot of people like trying to understand it, or those who are like full on, like this is what I do. Joey Harrington is a big wine person. He actually texted me. He has some old Oregon wines that he's into. So yeah, they're all over the place. But the real one, who people do know, is Drew Bledsoe. That because he
I don't
lives.
think I knew that. Okay.
He lives on the vineyard. So Doubleback Wine is his. He makes wine out of Washington, Walla Walla, and it is absolutely dynamite.
Wow.
Rick Meyer makes. So many people make wine. Rick Meyer makes wine.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's making wine now. Does that just like saturate the market?
It does not saturate the market. It makes the market super fun because here's what happens is like before, yes, people would get into the business and just slap their name on a label and what have you. Now people are really like celebrities, athletes are going to these vineyards and trying to learn more, hanging with the winemakers, trying to learn more. Like Mary J. Blige has a wine called Sun Goddess. And she actually went to her Friuli Venezia and was on the vineyard. Now, yes, she's still learning about it, but she really went there and got to see the product made. I thought that was super fascinating. Obviously, Dwayne Wade, with his wine. Carmelo's wine is, from Shotting Off the Pop. So it's, who else is legit is Pink.
Really?
Pink, I'm talking about, she like cat management is when you see them like stirring the grapes around. You want to keep the top of the cap. You want to keep it moist, so you want to stir it around. She has wine out of Santa Barbara, Santa Ynez, and Happy Canyon called Two Wolves. And if she's not performing, she is making wine. Like I'm dead serious. She doesn't do anything else.
Okay,
I think I need to make wine.
Yeah,
I
are we
want to
in
go
the wrong
try
business?
Well,
or you
you
can custom crush, or you can just custom crush. You hire someone called alternating proprietorship. They make it for you. Just fund it.
I mean, I'm really good at drinking it. I think I could be okay at making it. Should we talk some football, guys?
I'm game. I am no rush. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna tell Sam that he needs to buy himself a set of darts.
Darts.
Because it's a big deal out there in the UK. And at night, I guess I hang out with the swanky people during the day, but then like certain days I'll go to like a legit pub, right? And it's like going down. Give me some ale, give me some of these disgusting fries, get out the way, and it's like dart
Chips.
night. It's the real deal.
And by the way,
if you think I'm kidding,
ale.
if you think I'm kidding,
Oh God.
Well, we gotta hang out more, man. We gotta hang out. I'm hitting you offline. We're hanging out. That's it.
Where you at? Let me know.
I could be anywhere. Anywhere.
Okay.
I could be anywhere you are. We're hanging out.
Okay, but he obviously is from New York, as we were talking about with Entourage, and the Giants are his team, and the Packers are my team. And because you've played for both,
this works.
This really works. Okay, be honest. Who did you like playing for more in terms of city, fan base, colors, everything?
Okay, so I mentioned the historian thing. So going to Green Bay was like
a dream,
an absolute football player. I just loved everything about it. The people were unbelievable. I don't think I paid for dinner in 4 years.
Yeah.
It was like this. So I remember I went to a bar in Green Bay, and I had a little too much, and then a fan was like, "Hey, let me drive you home, so you don't get in trouble." I was like, "All right." So they drove me to where I am.
No.
Gave my keys, made sure I was good, and away I went.
Can you imagine that in New York?
Yeah, right. But I will say this though, winning a Super Bowl in New York is absolutely crazy. And New York was cool because being on the Giants, I really got to see what it was like, the process. Beginning of that year, I remember they were doing so awful, and then you really got to see what it was like to go through it and finally get there and win it. So it was cool to see see that part, see Coughlin's dynamic with the team, how we were, how we had just a team full of adults. On both teams are full of adults and leaders, what you really need for a championship team. So it was cool to see both. Because I was there 2010, I just got released. Then obviously next year with New York. But yeah, overall, I would say Green Bay was absolutely tons of fun, but New York was dynamite.
I've got to ask because you were drafted in 2006, so you were there when Brett Favre kept saying he was coming back. For 2 seasons, he was coming back, and then the Aaron Rodgers crossover. It's been well documented that those two have not always gotten along, that those first couple of years were kind of awkward. Do you have any takeaway from seeing that situation?
Yeah, I don't want to say like them two didn't get along, because I feel like men know how to be cordial with others, despite like whatever kind of like they have. And for him, Aaron was drafting situation. Favre was still playing at a high level, and they were trying to kick him out. Like, bro, all right, we had enough, you know?
Yeah.
Especially when, 2006 was kind of whatever, and they were like, hey, let's move on. He came back 2007. We lose the NFC Championship game, like, and he's playing at a high MVP level. Like, you get that far and you're still that good, and they want you to get out of there. It was super tough. So it was funny, but I will say this. Despite whatever drama's going on, we knew like we were good either way. Like if Favre stayed, we were good. If we had Aaron Rodgers, we were good. So we were like, just pick somebody so we can go and make some plays.
Now I know Aaron's a Scotch guy. Did you ever drink wine with him?
No. Oh, but here's what's funny too. So we were I went to a Super Bowl party at this house in Bel Air. It's like this guy, he lives right across the street from where Bill Zarin used to live, whatever that guy's name is. And I mean, this house was endless. And so it's so funny, like the most random people are there. I mean, it's LA, right? That's how it is. So I remember I was hanging out with Jaleel White, and Aaron walks in the day after he won the MVP. He has like a, Scully on, and he looks like he just, speaking of, he looked like he was doing cat management on grapes. So like he just walked in, and everyone was like, it was just the most random thing I ever seen. And then all of a sudden, Favre walks into the party.
No.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. It was so random. Favre walks in. I think like he walked in same time Vanessa Hudgens walked in. So he walks in. I'm just name dropping like crazy. I know.
Sounds like a dream.
I
had the craziest dream last night.
She was promoting her cactus water at this event, whatever.
Oh my God.
And so, yeah, them two are at this party together, and I'm sitting there, and I mean, me and Prince of Mukamara were just like, look at this, like these two, and they were totally cool, I'm
a little upset I didn't get the invite to this party because I was in LA at this period of time, and I'm a little upset I didn't get this invite.
Well, then I feel bad then because I had a party at L'Hermitage. So.
Oh man,
I don't even know where to go from there because I want to ask a lot more questions about the party, but I don't want to live in that party.
No. I think I get one more Packer question. I think I'm entitled to one more, and then you get 3 Giants questions.
Okay,
how's that sound? Okay,
sounds good.
Why do you think, Will, the Packers can't win a playoff game at home?
I have no idea. I don't know. Just don't play the 49ers.
Yeah.
Well, no, they lost to Tampa too, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's funny because they gave up a lot of points versus Tampa. Then they go get Joe Barry. He shores up the defense. And then they don't score enough against 49ers. So I don't know. Listen, just keep getting there. It's funny when the expectations are that high. It's like they can't get to the Super Bowl, but hey, just keep getting to the NFC Championship game. I don't know. I think right now what they're doing, they have Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. Like they're really leaning on them. I feel like the receivers are getting more confident in terms of what they're doing to meet up. And it's a long season. It's only a week, and I feel like I know Aaron. He gets better the further they go into the season. So yeah, I think. I don't know. I think just lean on the running backs. That will help them a lot.
Okay, fair enough. Jerry, you have the
Does that conclude the Packers segment?
I'll find a way to get back there a little bit. But yeah, I got to say, Will, I have grown up in Wisconsin and Kansas City. It's another story. But Wisconsin's home. My husband's from Sheboygan, which is about an hour from Green Bay. And I worked at a vineyard in Wisconsin one summer. I was home from college. And we had a bunch of tourists always coming up from like Iowa, Illinois,
Did you go to Madison too?
No, I went to Georgia. We'll talk. We'll talk when you come to London.
I almost went to Madison, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. I had too much fun on my visit and I couldn't go there.
That I've heard that happens.
I died on my visit. Literally. I died. I look like Kiefer Sutherland, the Lost Boys. I look just like him.
Was that really a major decision? Like, this is too much fun. This is not for me. This is a different life.
BC's not as big of a party school, huh?
BC's a great party school. I mean,
is it?
Boston in general.
Yeah.
everyone just merges. You got like 30 schools in Boston, but literally, I went during like I think it was Halloween too, and that's like Madison is just another world. And I just remembered I met Jungle Juice. That's a nice person. Afterwards, after your visit, you go meet Coach Alvarez, right? And I remember he had this long desk. I mean, it had to be like a 30-foot desk. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like it's kind of like it's like a Last Supper table. It was that long. And I remember I sit down and I just go just like this. I put my head down on my arms and I just hear him walking. He's walking towards me. Obviously, it's a long table, so it took a long time. He was walking for a long time. And then finally, he comes over and he puts his hand on my head. He said, "I know, son. Like, I know." like as in, yes, you had a great time. Yeah. And I told my dad on the plane, I was like, dude, there's no way I can go here. They had like a new sports medicine facility. I like sports medicine. Like they gave me my jersey. Like it was just, anyhow, sorry.
Almost too good of a visit.
Yeah.
It was too good.
Oh, that's so funny. That is so
But I was kind of like, I asked a lot of questions on our dinner because they recruited me to play running back and their starting running back was a freshman. I was like, you have a freshman running back? I was like, what if I want to play receiver? They said, you can play receiver. I said, what if I want to play defensive back? You can play defensive back too. I was like,
what if I want to coach the team? You can coach the team too.
I just want to tape ankles, guys. You know, that's what I want to do. I was like, they just want me here.
Oh, that is rich. That's good.
All right, I'm gonna sneak in. I'm gonna sneak in some Giant stuff if that's okay.
It's totally allowed.
Now I'm pretty much one of the biggest like Tom Coughlin guys around. You know, they were always kind of calling for his head before the Super Bowls. When is he gonna get fired? And then we know what kind of happened from there. And I do even remember like the Tom Coughlin time thing. Like, and Strahan, I think, was always the one who said it. Like, if they tell you to be in the meeting at 9, you got to be there at 8:55. Was Tom Coughlin really that kind of coach? And did he ever, I don't want to say play mind games, but is there any motivational stuff he would try? Is there like a Tom Coughlin time for real?
It wasn't mind games. It was legit. If you were late, you got fined. I kid you not. If you had the wrong color socks on, you will get fined. If you didn't have a tie on, you will get fined. I mean, he fined us for everything. I remember we were traveling, right? I forget who we were playing. I think it was the Saints. But I remember I had it was a 3-piece suit on. Like it was tailored. It was nice, right? I had everything but a tie, but I was dressed up. So I remember I looked back at Coach Coughlin. He had a neck pillow that you have to inflate yourself. And so he was blowing up the neck pillow, and then he was turning maroon. And I laughed. I'm like, Coach, don't pass out on us. And he was like, ha, ha, ha. He's like, where's your tie? I was like, oh, I look clean, Coach. I said, I look clean. He goes, you look super nice. Remember, this is on the way to the game. Get there, play the game, come back, blah, blah. You know, we come back after the game, go to our facility, and I go put my pads in there. Oh, no, I grab my other stuff. There's an envelope on my seat. Envelope on my seat. $400 fine for not having a tie.
Come on.
Remember,
did you play bad?
No, this was on the way to the game. And, you know, we got there, we stayed the night, play the next day. And on the way back, there was an envelope in my locker. But I will say this, though. No, he was great. He was outstanding. Because I respect coaches who they are who they are. Like they didn't sugarcoat anything. He was who he was. And I get that. Now I understand, you know, I remember watching America's game when they won in 2007, how he was so tough and so stern and no one really got it or liked him. And then his wife was like, you need to let them see how you are with your grandkids. Speaking of grandkids, Chris Nee is his son-in-law. Chris Nee and I played together at Boston College. And I remember watching the draft and he get picked by the Giants. And we were laughing so hard. We were like, oh, father-in-law's making sure his daughter's taken care of. It was great. So it was cool because I got to see actually that when I was there. Like he would come into the, Tuesday's our day off for treatment. And he would let us bring our kids and he would play with our kids. And then he also created his leadership committee. This is what I thought was cool, where it was like Eli, O.C. Miura, Justin Tuck, David Deal, Richie Saubart, like all these dudes, right? And pretty much the Andreu role, Deion Grant, if you guys can't handle it, then bring it to me. But if there's any issue or drama, like you guys handle it. Like I don't want it coming to my desk or anything. And I would say 99% of the time, like it was handled. So I think that's also what helped our team be who it was. But there was a time, it was right before the Super Bowl, right? The night before, we have a team meeting and you're expecting like this crazy, like rah-rah speech, like go there and beat their ass, da-da-da-da, The week before, he told us to burn their ships. I love burn their ships. Like, burn the ships. When we play the 49ers, like, let's go. We are not leaving without a win. This week, I'm waiting for something, like, relatable like that. And what he did, he pretty much went around the room and highlighted guys who sacrificed for the team. And he expressed, like, how much he loved each and one of us. He was damn near in tears. And that was his speech, really. And I was like, oh, dude, let's go. Like, that's motivating. Let's go. Because, you don't see that from him. But, yes, he finds you for everything.
Yeah, that's got to be a little more impactful than, burn the ships is great. I love all that stuff. But,
I love burn.
When you get kind of vulnerable, the coach like that. So, the finding stuff, though, for something as simple as, like, wrong colored socks or not wearing a tie, is that just because of the attention to detail that
it
all
is
of you
attention
have
to detail?
have?
I would say it's attention to detail. It's like, do you like respect attention to detail, like discipline? Like it was all those things, And I it's like, I get it. It's kind of silly, but I get it. I get what it is. It's like, hey, like this is the Giants. This is how we're going to run things. Everyone is on the same page. Everyone is going to buy in, Literally probably have to buy in.
Oh, jeez.
So you win the Super Bowl. Is there anyone on the Giants that kind of maybe surprised you at some of the after parties? Like, oh, wow, you're having a real good time. Or did it kind of go according to what you thought guys would have been like?
Yeah, I was so tired. I remember.
Right.
Yeah, because my whole family was there. I was so tired. I think Kid Rock was performing at our after party. And I got pretty cool with DJ Scribble. Like he's super cool. Got to know him well. And then that's it. It was such a blur because then I was like hanging with my wife and I'm like, we got to pack in like 3 hours.
Right, I got to sleep.
It's already, there is no sleep. It's already 3 a.m.
Yeah.
My kids are up, my son's upstairs with his grandma and my dad's there, and my brother. And it's like, man, we got to pack and load up in 3 hours. It's already like 4 a.m. So it was such a blur. Everything happened so fast. I do remember after the game, not the party, but after the game in the locker room, I remember like getting to my locker and Seal and Heidi Klum were in my locker. I got to change, guys.
You have a moment to change.
See, I don't mind it with you two because like I don't say names ever. I think it's so silly. But for you two, you guys know everything.
So what were they doing in your locker?
Because they let people in afterwards. It's Super Bowl, so they let all the celebrities in afterwards who were there and whatever.
Also didn't get that invite.
Ouch! Oh, Jerry.
I'm 0 for 2. What you will, I'm 0 for 2.
What?
Hey, real quick, did you ever play in London in any of the London games? Because I know the Giants
have
always
played
a lot.
Twice.
Twice.
I played twice in London. Yeah.
Okay, what's it like? Weird with the time change? Does it matter?
It is. So I did both trips. I did one where you stayed the whole week, and I did the one where you came on the weekend. They both suck, by the way, because it's like you're there all week. It's like, all right, this was cool. Now let's play and go home. Mm-hmm. Or the other one is like you get there and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to breathe. Mm-hmm. So I went with Jacksonville in 2013 when we played the 49ers that got absolutely dragged through the pitch. Dragged. It was awful. But I will say the atmosphere felt like a Super Bowl.
Wow.
It was Wembley and it was completely sold out. Completely sold out.
Oh, that's awesome.
90,000 fireworks. You've seen the most random jerseys. Everyone's excited. Like they love football out there, like for real. And then the second time, which was even worse, I was on the Redskins. We played the Bengals. The game ended in a tie.
I remember that game. Yeah.
Which they didn't mind because in
soccer they don't care.
End the tie. Yeah.
Right. They were
Like, great game. Great effort.
us back in the States are like, a tie? A freaking tie? Really? A tie?
I was furious.
Will, do you
Oh
think the
my
NFL should abolish ties?
I mean, have a kickoff or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You know, like have two kickers just go at it. And I don't know.
This year, I don't know.
Yeah,
That might take longer than just playing it out this year.
That's fine. But I think maybe they don't want to have overtime because for player safety, maybe because they don't want to keep playing.
Go for two. Keep switching off. Go for two.
Make the coaches do the kickoff. Now we're talking. Make the coaches have to go kick off and do something. But you know who would drill it? Tom Coughlin would drill a 35-yarder if it was for the win.
I don't know about that.
Okay, also, what do you think about the Pro Bowl? Now that's changing, getting a little facelift. What do you think about the new format?
Yeah, I mean, you might as well do something just to make it competitive without the physical aspect. Because, literally, they go there and they just literally just hang out. It's so funny. Last year when it was in Vegas,
like Alvin Kamara got arrested this year at it.
Well, yeah, I don't know that full story, but it's funny because they got a hotel in like Henderson, which is like 40 minutes from the Strip, and I think the second day everyone left their rooms and got rooms on the Strip.
Oh my gosh,
that was super funny. But yeah, just make it fun and little competitive things. I think would make it exciting. But yeah, because no one's really trying to hit anybody.
I got a pitch for you to make. I'm all about improving things, right, in sports. The way I think for fan experience. So the Pro Bowl, I'm all in on the court, like the skills competition. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And later on this show, at some point, I'm gonna do how to fix the dunk contest. That's another story. But for Pro Bowl, look, we don't want to see. I don't want to see the game either. I don't want to see anyone take unnecessary hits. So what if you do the skills competition? You pick a few quarterbacks, right? And then instead of doing the flag football game, you really just kind of do drills. Like, I want to go one-on-one with another actor, but I want my quarterback to be Josh Allen. I feel like he would do that. So if it's more like backyard football, Josh Allen, say, Jerry, 7-yard slant, and I don't know, Channing Tatum's guard trying to lock me up. I think people watch that. Maybe if it's not me, you could get bigger names. But what if you involve, like, just make it fun? I don't want to see them play a flag football game.
Kind of how All-Star Weekend is literally like you get all the above.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way. Like bring in those celebrity dunkers to the dunk contest. You know?
That's how we fix it.
Fun.
That's how we fix the dunk contest. You're right. That's my take of how you fix the dunk contest. Bring on professional dunkers.
We're here, bro.
You guys have a lot of ideas.
Hang out, Will.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, I have another question because we just saw this weekend Bills at Dolphins, heat and humidity playing a major factor. And Jerry and I were just talking about it. Have you played in a game that hot, that humid? And is that a real thing? Is that something that bettors especially should consider before placing their bets?
It's funny. I would say no, but I guess in this case, yeah, I think it was Mike Fabiano said it's super unsafe. And I was like, come on, man. Like it is what it is. But my very first NFL game was in Miami, actually around this time of year. Yeah, I think it was around this time of year. It was 126 on the field.
Oh.
It was absolutely horrible.
Ooh.
Horrible. I mean, I remember I was covering Marty Booker, former Bears, but also a Dolphins receiver. And he and I, honestly, we looked like two slugs trying to defend each other. It was just like, I was like, stop running. He would tell me that, right? He goes, I'm running it out, okay? I'm not getting the ball. So just
I'm running it out. I'm going straight to the water to have a sip. So,
oh my gosh. Yeah, dude. Miserable. It was so fun. It was so hot down. That was my first game, and it was just absolutely terrible. Terrible. But I had both ends of the spectrum. The reason why I answered your question kind of like halfway, like maybe because it's funny, like playing in Green Bay. You always think the opponent, like, it's going to be cold for them. Mm-hmm. I remember, like, every time Miami came up, they would whip Green Bay in the cold, so it didn't matter. But, yeah, I prefer a hot game like that over a cold game any day. Chicago, it is the worst place on earth for football.
Oh, yeah.
I played in that game in 2000, I think it was 2007. It was 2007. We already had the division won. We already had a first-round bye. We did not need this game, but it's the Bears. Mm-hmm. So it's the rivalry. And I remember the day before we got there, it was like -10. But there was no wind. If there's no wind,
You're right.
Jerry, if there's no wind, it's all right. The day of, it is -21, 60 miles an hour wind. It was brutal.
Like
so I remember
painful.
it was awful. I remember during pregame, like I'm just like trying to catch a punt, but it's not happening because the ball is going all over the place.
Oh my God.
And I look at Brett Favre. I'm like, okay, Brett Favre, never missed a game. Took Vicodin without water, like just absolute maniac, And so I go over, I'm like, this is not bad, right? He's like, Will, this is the worst weather I ever played in. I am effing cold. And I was like, oh man. So I run into the locker room. I'm like, guys, I said, Brett's cold. We're gonna lose today.
Coming from the guy
I said,
who
we're
played
gonna
in
lose.
every condition possible. Said,
I said,
this
we're
is
gonna
the
lose.
worst I've ever played in. That would shake me to my
That's
core.
a good story.
I said, we're going to lose. And we got absolutely pummeled that game.
Oh.
I remember Ryan Grant, he kept scoring touchdowns. Well, he kept breaking long runs. We're like, dude, like, just stop. Like, we're trying to end this game and get the heck out of here. He's like, I got incentives. Like,
Yeah.
if I get 100 yards, I get like $1 million, something crazy like that. So,
Wow.
Well, bringing it back
Crazy.
to the Dolphins, do you think after what you saw last week, are they for real?
I think so. I think so because they're competing on all levels. I think everyone was just waiting for finally Tua to be in a situation where he can do his thing, and now he also has legit playmakers on the outside. It's like when Marino had Mark Duper and Gary Clark like out there doing his thing. Those two. It's like that, and they got a guy who legit is keeping the energy chill and they're having fun down there.
Mhm.
So. I feel like you can have all the swagger and arrogance as long as you prepare for it. And I feel like that's what's going on with them. So right now, yeah, I like them. I like the especially the 2 wins they had, the Baltimore and Buffalo.
Very different wins.
Very different.
Well, that was so much fun. Thank you for being a good
Yes.
sport.
Yeah, all good.
And
We're hanging out,
hoping
Will.
I'm hoping to touch base in London because there are a lot of good wine bars. I sent you that list. You already knew some of them.
I'm a
Thanks for your
certified
time.
bloke.
Thank you, Will.
Certified bloke. Okay, Jerry, now it's the time where we can really break down Entourage. And I am in season 3. I am loving this season, by the way. Busy Phillips has a Rottweiler. Your dogs meet at the dog park. You guys end up hooking up, but then Arnold attacks her dog. I mean, it was a great episode. I was cracking up.
Yeah, every now and then we always would do these episodes where I would be fortunate enough to where my character goes off with Kevin Dillon, Johnny Drama's character, for these kind of bizarre storylines that have nothing to do with like the A storyline of the plot, but also Kevin Dillon as Johnny Drama is so brilliant and so effortlessly funny. I was just like along for the ride. That episode, the dog park one, where we kind of have this meet cute with our dogs and we go back to us. So I struggled with that because, look, I'm not saying all actors are supposed to be able to do everything, right? You need me to ride a horse? I can ride a horse. I am not known for like my love scene / make out scene. That's not my skill set. That's not why you kind of hire me to do a thing. I'm not the heartthrobby guy. It's not my skill set, right? So having a scene like that, I just remember almost in my mind just being like, God, I don't want to do this. I felt like and also you're just meeting the person for the first time pretty much. I'd met Busy, I think, one other time. So it's like, hey, all right, well now we're meeting and we gotta kind of do this. So
do you think
it's awkward? Those scenes are
in
the
your
worst.
head, I always imagine I would just think, God, I don't want my parents or my grandparents to watch this.
By the way, how about this? I'll give you one better. Every year, we have a big premiere for Entourage where they would show 2 episodes, right?
Oh.
They showed that one at the premiere in New York, which I'm sitting next to my 90-year-old grandmother for that scene. And to her credit, she was laughing. She was a good sport.
Oh.
But I tell you right now, if you offered me an opportunity to say, Jerry, you know what? You will never have another kissing or love scene or anything like that ever again in your career. Are you okay with that? Fine.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I don't
Yeah.
want it. I don't need it. Those scenes, I just take them out. Take them out.
So
I don't need it.
awkward.
Yeah,
You were great
done.
in it. You were very convincing.
Look, it's a funny episode, and
It's a great episode.
both actresses that we worked with in that episode were hilarious. So it was a very, very funny episode. But that was stressful.
Oh my God, so good. Okay, and then the Fukijama episode was so good. Your character was a huge part of that plot. Basically, you were trying to get these shoes that were special edition, and then Vince ended up buying them with your name for what, 20 grand or something. Tell me about that episode.
Yeah, so that is one of the, if I had a top 5 episodes that I get asked about the most or come up the most, that one is certainly in the top 5 talked about with like fans on the street. And what was cool about that one, and Entourage did do this a lot, back then, this is what, 07, sneaker culture was not nearly what it was today as mainstream. Not a lot of people knew that people waited online like they were waiting to buy tickets for Star Wars for a shoe drop. That was news to some people who weren't in that world. We showed that on screen, so it definitely opened up people's eyes to what that place was. Now, that episode with the gold Fukijamas, the Air Force Ones, I think there was 5 or maybe 6 ever made. Okay, I have the ones. People ask me all the time, did you keep those? He's like, yes, I kept them. Some of them have been sold. Of the 6, there's been 2 that have sold at like Sotheby's, I think for like $100 and something thousand.
Oh, come on.
Only for you.
What?
Olivia Harlan Dekker, because we're fast new friends and co-hosts and business partners. I went into the vault and I had to bust these bad boys out.
Oh my God.
Because everyone always asks. And now it has its own language on it. Obviously, this says turtle. This says Salvatore Asante, which is the character's name. You'll find out.
Yeah.
And this is all cool writing. All the writing on the shoe is right here.
Oh, Jerry, you just told me Turtle's real name. I didn't know that.
No, I didn't. I did not. That wasn't it.
You've said before you weren't going to tell me. Okay.
That's not it. Cut that part out. Can we cut that part out of your brain? Could you just delete that?
No.
But anyway, I have the OGs from that episode. These are them. If you ever hear about me selling them, that means something really bad probably happened and I needed some money. But no, I don't ever plan on. The only place maybe if like the Television Hall of Fame ever wanted them, maybe we could talk.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Yeah, not giving those bad boys up anytime soon.
A 6-figure shoe. You have got to be kidding. Okay, well that was really good. I am loving season 3. Like I said, I feel like I'm right in the meat of the show. You
are. If there is an Entourage heyday, you're in it, or you're entering the heyday. You're entering the, I guess, our prime.
I'm loving
our athletic prime.
I love it. Well, we're in the prime of this episode. Let's get to Peter Andreu.
All right, it's time for one of my favorite parts of the show. We got to get to some week 4 wagering with BetMGM betting analyst, our odds-on favorite, Peter Andreu. Yes, Peter. We're gonna bypass some things last week. We're gonna just say we're not even gonna really recap. We're just gonna call it an offer. Was it an offer?
It was an offer. I should have known Thursday Night Football. What were we, 2 Freiermuth receptions away from hitting 17-1? And
You're so close.
All downhill from there. Sunday was embarrassing, and my Niners crushed my dreams. Terrible game Sunday night.
Terrible.
That kind of killed me in every which way.
Yeah, not a great game to watch, but I will say and I said it last week, you're getting so close on these single game parlays. So that's how I'm really going to be interested in hearing. So we're not going to spend too much time on the recap. It's a new week. That's the beautiful thing about football. We kind of wiped the slate clean, and you have a good smile on your face. Where is your head at with these 10 units we have? I don't even know where you are in the year, just so I lost track.
We might be down a little bit, but listen, there's a good story coming week 4, I think. I think we're going to get to where we want to be. I'll start with what I'm calling the Olivia special. We got a London match.
I love it.
We got the Packers. We got the Chiefs. So I'll start with the London match.
Yeah.
Love Saints plus 2.5. I think technically they're home here nor there at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, playing against the Minnesota Vikings without Dalvin Cook. So pretty serious shoulder injury. I think it's dislocated. So he may be out quite some time. Madison, decent backup, but here nor there. Saints pass defense, 5th in the league as it stands right now. They're going to be throwing the ball, the Vikings. Justin Jefferson, not a good game last week. I think Marshawn Lattimore can do the same that they did last week, which is keep them to under 50 yards, keep it a lower scoring game. And then on the other side of the ball, the Vikings pass defense is the 4th worst. Chris Olave, amazing game last week, 140 plus yards. Michael Thomas, first 2 weeks of the year has been really strong. This seems very lopsided to me. I was kind of leaning Vikings before looking into it a bit, just because I think they need this win. But the lean is on the Saints, given all of that and given the Dalvin Cook injury. I feel really good about that.
I thought you were going Vikings for sure. I'm surprised. You've switched.
I switched. My head is all over the place. Feathers are ruffled from last week. So I switched last minute, but I feel good about 2.5. You could even take a money line, but play it safe with the 2.5 points.
You're going 3 units on that, right?
3 units on that. So we'll do the same as last week. 3 units on each of these, and then we'll wrap with the 1 unit on the 1 game parlay.
All right, there's one. We got 2 to go.
Next, Packers 10.5 at home.
It's a
No
big
Mac
number.
Jones, most likely. It's a big number, but this Pats team is not that good.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones, high ankle sprain. I'm guessing he's out next week. I know he played a bit coy like Belichick does. Pat's allowing 116 rushing yards a game. Aaron Jones, very quiet last week. A.J. Dillon, very quiet last week. I think the tide shift a little bit. They have a really good game. I see this as probably a 17 to 20 point win. Doesn't seem like it could be close. Again, Pat's team that just underwhelms me a bit, especially in that division. They don't look like they did last year. I think this is a bit of a back to earth kind of season for them.
But let me ask you this. Do you think Mac Jones is worth however many points it dropped? Because Brian Hoyer's capable.
In a normal everyday game, maybe, but playing at Green Bay against Aaron Rodgers,
Right.
It's a little bit of both. It's obviously, let's say Mac Jones is worth 3 or 4 points, but Aaron Rodgers is worth 7 to 10 points in my opinion. So
Okay.
pretty impressive game last week against the Bucs. One throw in the 4th quarter was ridiculous. I think it was to Robert Tonyan. Just literally put it in the perfect spot that no other quarterback can do. Don't care if you're Patrick Mahomes, anybody. No one can do what he did. Really impressive. So, yeah, I see this as a blowout game. And to be honest, first 3 weeks of the season have been very favorable for the sportsbook. I think this is one of those weeks you see a lot of the favorites start coming around and win.
All right. Things get a little bit more normal now.
A little bit more normalized, and I think that will take you to the last one. So the other 3 units, which is Chiefs minus 2.5 at Tampa. Sunday Night Football. I thought it was a very, very uncharacteristic day for the Chiefs. The penalties, the muffed kicks, the fake field goal. I mean, you can see Amendola replacing Butker, missing extra point, missing a field goal. Just was not Chiefs football, in my opinion. Mahomes furious at Bieniemy. Weird game, and I think they shape up this week. Their money line minus 135. You can take the spread at 2.5, but I like the money line just them to win outright. I think it is a relatively close game. But again, that kind of is one of those weird games. I was all over the Colts, which was great, but it was one of those games they should have won 7 different times, and they just let them in, let Matt Ryan kind of stay in the game when he had a pretty poor game for most of the
he did.
first 3 quarters, most likely. I mean, yeah, just I think it was a wake-up call for them. So they come in.
You were on the Colts?
I was on the Colts, so I had.
Why'd you tell me that?
I know. I got to start getting this text chain going. I had
Come on.
Ravens 2.5, Colts money line, and then to finish the parlay was Niners. So could have cashed out. I didn't. I suffered.
Now this really isn't a. This is a OHD Olivia Harlan Dekker betting slip. I'm seeing you got the Vikings 3 units minus 2.5 in London.
No, he's
Then
taking
you got
Saints.
Olivia's Packers minus 10.5 versus the Pack. And then you got the Chiefs. I
Chiefs
mean
money line.
that's straight up. Olivia, you might have to ride with that one, Olivia.
Yeah, I know. We
Liv,
need
we
this one
got-
up on BetMGM.
We have. Listen, I don't know if we talked about this, but one of our parent companies, Entain, is based out of London. We can get you sorted on a book if you want. Just say the word. Ladbrokes, Coral, B-Win.
There we go.
You name the book. We'll get the prices up there. Maybe we'll do the OHD special. Put it up
I
live for
love it.
everybody in the UK. Never know.
So
I love it.
this is what I think you're most due for. I've been saying it for a while. You're knocking on the door. You're buzzing the tower like Top Gun, okay? With these single game parlays.
It's-
Thursday night, Dolphins in Cincinnati. what do you got for us? Because I think this is the week. I might just auto drop this in a betting slip, Peter, Andrew. We need you. You're our only hope here. Thursday night, Dolphins, Bengals. What do you got?
And I will say 2 weeks in a row, again, if you are opted into our one-game parlay insurance, you would have gotten your stake back again because we hit everything else last week except for Friarmouth. So we would have got you covered. This week, I'm decreasing the odds a little bit. So it's 10-1 plus 1,000. I got the over 47.5. I have T. Higgins anytime touchdown plus T. Higgins over 50 yards. And I'll talk about kind of my rationale there. And then the last one, which is a bit off the grain, is Mike Gesicki anytime touchdown. So last week, Ty Coughlin, tight end, you can call him tight end 1 or 2 for the Jets, 8 receptions, 83 yards. They could not find a way to stop tight ends in the game. I think that follows suit this week. So that's why I've kind of taken Gesicki to score a touchdown. In terms of T. Higgins, you saw it last week a little bit too. When you have a cornerback 1 all over Jamar Chase, doesn't have a great game. Xavier Howard on Miami probably does the same thing this week. So then you look at T. Higgins, amazing week last week, coming back from mid-game injury. I think 50 yards on a touchdown, very reasonable. He probably should have had that sick one in the end zone last week too. So, we're decreasing the odds a little bit, but plus 1,000, still a nice payout. So whatever a unit is for you to win 10-1, pretty sweet. I feel really good about it. Feel really good about the Olivia special. Just getting back to basics here. So I think we get back on the right path.
Pete, I'm curious. We were talking about it in the open, all these unders. I mean, I know you're taking the over on Thursday night, but what's your reasoning here? Why are all these unders hitting?
I don't know if it's worth a conversation with our trading guys because, traditionally everybody loves taking the overs. So I wonder if they've kind of moved the line slightly to match that a little bit. And that goes across the industry, not just with BetMGM, but really, really interesting. I think it's something like 65% of unders have hit, which is very, very abnormal. And then you can say the same correlation with dogs winning versus favorites. So this is why I think we don't fret kind of too much in the first 3 weeks. I think we get back to reality a little bit this week. I'd expect a tougher day for the books, and maybe you see a couple more overs, a couple more favorites hit.
I think it's a huge bounce back week. Sorry.
Yeah, right when you think things are going to get normal is when the overseas games start. Nothing's going to be normal at Tottenham Hotspur. Come on. Pete, thanks as always for coming on. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys.
All right, Olivia, another one in the books. I think we were definitely hitting our prime here, as you mentioned earlier. But before we go, just want to make sure you guys follow BetMGM, our YouTube channel. You could find all kinds of great content there, including full episodes of Unleashed. You can watch interviews, hear betting advice, and maybe even my Entourage recaps or some of those fancy shoes I just showed everybody. So good show today, Olivia.
This is my favorite one yet. I'm going to pour myself another glass. It's almost 8 p.m. here in London. This was a fun episode.
Finally, the time change has worked in your favor for this
really
one.
has.
Thanks, everybody. Great show.